All right. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, everybody. Good to see you. Just wanted to hop on and spend a little time with you before Christmas hits. Obviously, to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy holidays. And just to see all of you. I missed all of you guys. I didn't get to stream last week. Just too many things happening. But I wanted to spend some time today, go over some recent news and highlights, and just say what's up. Got Peter O'Neill here. Peter says, good morning, afternoon, Xmas, Merry Xmas to everyone from Australia. Great to see you, Peter. We got Non-Cat here. Merry Christmas, Non-Cat. Go Kush TTV, what's up? What's the huge news? We always got huge news, man. We'll go over that in just a little bit. What's up, Paul? Merry Christmas. Good to see you, my friend. How's it going? Tracy's here. Great to see you, Tracy. I hope you and your family are doing well. Mason Tyler is here. Of course, we got Ariana in the chat keeping us safe. Fred McIntyre is here. Mac and Tree is here. What's up, Fred? Noah, what's going on? Merry Christmas. How you doing, brother? Scott checking in from the Big Island. Great to see you, Scott. MMT, great to see you. How are you, man? Alex Cab, what's up, Alex? How you doing? Merry Christmas. What are your guys' plans for the holiday? Anybody got anything big going on? All right, let's do this. I'll put a little bit of news on the screen here. We did see some important things happening. I just wanted to jump in and share some of this. Let's see here. Let me just pull this up and we'll go to this. I wanted to share this too, right? It does look like Gemini predictions. Here you go. For end of the year, we are now 8 days away from the end of the year, and there's a 4% chance that XRP will be above $3. So it might not be the Merry Christmas that some people thought it was going to be, but all good. I am continuing to buy XRP at these prices. I hope you guys are taking this opportunity as well. The DTCC did put out some new information. The financial ecosystem moves to blockchain rails. Tokenization opens the door to advancement investment models and broader participation. We'll go ahead and play this, a 31-second clip.
So many market participants today don't get access to certain kinds of financial tools. Through blockchain, this will level the playing field and allow parties to broadly get access to the most interesting investment opportunities at global scale. This has the promise of making markets more fair, accessible, transparent, easy to regulate, and ultimately provide a whole set of new opportunities for investors.
All right, a whole set of new opportunities to investors. I did want to show you some other additional information here because we did hear some pretty decent announcements from the DTCC today. So here is a big announcements that just kind of hit the wire. Today, the DTCC and BNY Global announced that the DTCC's FICC subsidiary has officially launched its collateral in lieu service under its sponsored general collateral offering via BNY's global collateral platform. That is a mouthful, with BNY Securities Finance and Federated Hermes Inc. successfully executing the first repo trade on the new solution. You start to wonder, what is the new solution that they are talking about here? Just to give you some additional context here, the BNY's Mellon's role in the DTCC FICC announcement is to provide a tri-party collateral infrastructure that lets sponsored repo participants post securities into a new collateral in lieu account, improving margin and capital efficiency ahead of the mandatory U.S. clearing rules. Ripple is already a strategic partner with BNY Mellon and RLUSD stablecoin and XRP infrastructure. So it's the kind of plumbing that is exactly the type of platform that could later integrate tokenized collateral or stablecoin rails, but it is not stated in the specific service. So you start to wonder, what are they going to be using on the back end for the settlement here? In the infrastructure, we are moving to this new tokenized future. So you would imagine that some of this is probably going to deal with blockchain infrastructure. You can speculate all you want, but some of those connections to Ripple are real, and you start to wonder, what is their role going to be here ahead in 2026? And why did Ripple choose BNY Mellon to hold RLUSD reserves? Was there a larger play here? And you talk about the repo market, it's a $12 trillion market where trillions of dollars are moved every single day. That infrastructure is going to be used via blockchain instant settlement. They're gonna pick something that we all know and love. I would imagine, there's going to be like, I keep saying this: Ethereum, Solana, XRP. That's really the infrastructure. Chainlink for upgrading legacy systems and crypto oracles. That's where this infrastructure is leading, and this is heading. So lots of really cool things happening here. Let's see here. Mike says, "Hey, Crypto Sensei, I'm with you on the XRP front, but where do you see others like Quant, HBAR, Ondo, Link, XLM, XCC shaking up to fill the gap?" So I think everything you mentioned here has its own role to play in the days ahead, right? I don't think there's going to be one chain to rule them all. I think it's a huge market opportunity for a lot of these infrastructures, and I think each one of those assets, Quant, HBAR, Ondo, Link, XLM, and XTC, filling the gaps. I can tell you, like XLM, is more after the retail side, where XRP is more the institutional side. Ondo is in the business of tokenizing securities, and they are going to be very big at that, I think. Quant, I'm not too up to date on what Quant's been doing. I haven't really looked at it, so I can't give you a fair analysis of that. I know HBAR has a lot of really big companies that are building on top of it. They also have some CBDC and other things that they are doing. So, it has felt like 25 was supposed to be a good year for altcoins. And I think if we are taking a look at prices right now, most altcoins are actually negative and not positive for the year. And that's maybe an uncomfortable feeling. Now, if you look forward ahead in 26, you do have the Federal Reserve here starting QE. They've already started to print money. That is going to inject trillions of dollars of liquidity into the system. They want to, of course, bring down interest rates. You do have Jerome Powell's, last day will be sometime, I think it's like March or April. I can't remember the exact date. And Trump will put somebody new in that Federal Reserve spot. The Federal Reserve Board of Governors have already kind of re-voted for those other 11 board member seats. So, you'd never want to have the executive office having control of the Federal Reserve. It's really important to keep those two things separate. So who Trump puts in that seat will be very important to go ahead. But I do think they're going to be lowering rates even further in 26. When you print money and you lower rates, everything becomes a little bit easier for people. Home loans, student loans, credit card interest, all of that stuff will come down, allowing people to maybe participate a little bit more, in everyday way of life. I think 26 will be a pretty spectacular year. If you look back in history of when the Fed starts QE, quantitative easing, usually you see the stock market up the next 12 months. And if the stock market's up, the crypto market should follow. You have a lot of things happening with tokenization, some of these assets that you have mentioned here. And I think we are looking for a pretty good 26. How will this affect 27, 28? Nobody has a crystal ball. Usually when you lower rates and you print money, inflation follows. So we'll have to deal with that as it comes. But 26 does look to be a very bullish year for the crypto industry. I hope that helped you and gave you some additional context. Let's see here. Robert Pellegrino. Hey, Sensei, excellent job on your videos, my friend. I appreciate how your hard work is all started 2 weeks ago. The big dogs are manipulating the market to make retail sell cheap. Merry Christmas. Robert, I think there's some truth to what you're saying here. There's always been manipulation in markets by, big institutions, and the crypto market is just another industry for that manipulation. Now, we don't have any specific facts that we can point to and say, hey, that's manipulation, but it sure feels like there is some stuff happening. Now, do institutions want to pick up these assets on the cheap? Absolutely. I would imagine over the next few years, your banks are going to be offering you crypto. They're going to be offering you crypto custody. They're going to be offering you all types of different products to kind of fit the need, right, for the American people and globally. So, there is always going to be manipulation. Unfortunately, it's just we need to see through that and understand not where the price is today, but where we're going. And so I'm glad you pointed that out, Robert. And thank you for being here, man. Hope you and your family are doing very well. Let's see here, my friend. Things are certainly fizzing for a very bullish 2026. Absolutely, man. I think 2026 is going to be one of those years, and it kind of breaks that 4-year cycle trend, right? The hard part here is you have the bulls and you have the bears, right? You have the traditional investors in the crypto market that are born and raised with this 4-year cycle idea. But it does feel like you're going to have a 5th year on this cycle, which is 2026. And, with all of the investment now coming into the crypto industry, just, get as much as you can and hold on to it, right? Like that is the best advice that I can give you as not a financial advisor, right? Like most of these assets that we're talking about, that we talk about, either on the show or in my videos, if you just look out a year, 5 years, 3 to 5 years from now, like where do you think the prices on some of these assets will be? Like we haven't gotten to a point yet where we've seen utility prices for crypto assets. We are still in this very speculation. Is it 150? Is it $2? Once that kind of comes to an end and we kind of start to see liquidity flowing and value moving on chain, I think it's going to be a much different story. And so I'm just glad to be a part of that and to understand what's going to be happening there. We got Chris Greaves. Chris, thank you for being a member of the channel. Merry Christmas, Sensei from Kansas. Merry Christmas to you and your family, Chris. Thank you for being here, man. And thank you for being a member of the channel here. Let's see here. Alex says, have you watched Lewis Jackson's latest video? Not looking good with liquidity and reason for prices. I haven't seen Lewis Jackson's new video. Listen, we're all going to have opinions, right? And that's the great thing about the internet is anybody can get on and give you their opinion. Now, just because somebody thinks something is going to happen doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. And I think that maybe, I'd have to watch the content, but I know Lewis Jackson is bullish long-term on assets like XRP. And so I would imagine he's pointing out some things that are a concern to him. And you should understand that, but also take what he's saying and take consideration in all the other content that you're taking in and make the best decision on what you think is going to happen. I don't know, man. Like we all, like there's some people that thought XRP was going to be what, 750 at the end of the year, 100 at the end of the year. And we're still at like what, $1.90 or something. So, like people are going to have predictions, and even the people that claim to be the most connected are still wrong. Right. So like, here you go. XRP sitting at $1.88. All you can do is take the information in and try to make the best decisions going forward. Not one piece or not one thing is going to ever sway me. It's going to take a lot of reinforcement from, facts about what's happening in the market for me to make a decision on what I'm going to do. But I'm just holding, man, Sebastian says, how's Luna doing? She's doing good, man. She had, on Saturday, Friday into Saturday, she had 2 episodes in the middle of the night, maybe an hour and a half apart. And it was really hard for her to get settled back in. And so I didn't sleep really well through the weekend. And so that's why I kind of slowed down a little bit of content. It's hard to, bring the energy and the excitement and the research, when I don't sleep very well. And, I appreciate that. Let's see here. So CS says, Lewis Jackson released a video explaining that XRP could still be held on exchanges, even for the institutional transactions, which would mean that not much would be locked up by banks. Hold on. So let's just understand this a little bit better. I guess I got to go watch this video. But if the XRP is purchased and exchanges are just holding that XRP, that's not available XRP. That's not available supply of XRP. That's still supply that's owned by institutions or banks. So does it matter who holds it? I don't know. Like, I'm trying to better understand the point here. I don't really care who holds it. It's still taken off the market, right? And if you can lower that available supply down to something that's very, less than $1 billion, less than 500 million, the amount of inflows coming in will have that multiplier effect that should springboard XRP. And you're going to need XRP in each additional on-demand liquidity flow, right? You got to imagine that each corridor that Ripple operates, once that kind of gets full going, each corridor is going to hold a certain amount of XRP. And that XRP is not going to fluctuate in between each corridor. It's going to be essentially there for that specific corridor. And once you start locking up this, I mean, you got to understand that corporations and banks, they're going to start coming in too. So, I mean, do you think they are going to buy crypto or not buy crypto, right? Financial advisors are telling their clients finally to put in 1%, 3%, 5%. If you are young enough and you don't mind a little bit of risk, they're telling you even more, 10%, right? I've seen one person say that that worked at some type of hedge fund, that they were telling some of the clients up to 20%. So as we get more comfortable with crypto, as regulations and rules come from the FDIC, the OCC, the CFTC, all of these regulators, as they put out the rulemaking, once regulation is passed, it's going to be game on, and what happens when that happens, your guess is as good as mine. But I can speculate that they're going to need a whole lot of crypto assets for each one of their strategies. So whether that's on Ethereum, whether it's on Bitcoin, whether it's on XRP or Solana, they are going to have those strategies. And, then you're going to have central banks come in, right? You think central banks are not going to hold any type of crypto assets? I beg to differ. I think they will hold the assets that they feel and deem are systemically important. And that's where I think XRP could play a role. So, it looks like Lewis Jackson's putting out some good content. He's bringing up, some things that maybe concern him. And I think that's worth talking about. And I'm glad you brought that up here so we could have a conversation. We got about 500 people in the chat, guys. If you want to go ahead and like the chat, I'd really appreciate that, or share it here if you're on X. I'd really, really appreciate that. A lot of people checking in, saying Merry Christmas. Looks like we got Scott here. Let's see here. We got Matthew. Matthew Beck says, I looked up XRP outperforming ETH with ChatGPT. It came back as accurate, and it looks like the numbers are far as the market capital are very close to ETH. So I'm hoping it will follow. I think I saw inflows this week. I saw outflows with Bitcoin, Ethereum. The only two inflows I saw, even indexes, I saw outflows. The only inflows I saw were Solana and XRP as the main ones. So, I can tell you that every day I am paying attention to how much XRP the ETFs are soaking up, right? And once they soak up that XRP, very rarely are they going to move that XRP. It's going to go into a cold storage wallet, and they're going to use that to seed the fund, right? And, one day you'll start to see outflows, and maybe they'll have to sell some of that. But, you already have over $1.3 billion committed to XRP. I think it's like 700 to 800 million XRP already purchased in the first 6 to 7 weeks. What happens when you get another 4 or 5 products? What happens when you get other types of products like indexes, where you have a bunch of different crypto assets and XRP represents maybe a share of that? You're going to have tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars now entering the space here over the next few years. Probably trillions too. It's hard to speculate like how much, right? You see all of these different guesstimates, but we're all taking risks being in the crypto market, right? We do our due diligence. We understand what the possibilities are, but nobody really has a crystal ball, right? And I just like Ripple is one of those companies that I've looked across the entire crypto sphere. I've been here for a while. I've seen a lot of promises made, and very few companies can operate on a very high level. And I think Ripple understands what their goals are, and their goals are, to make an impact globally on payments and now custody and G Treasury and Ripple Prime, formerly Hidden Road. They're getting their infrastructure ready for a global, they want to cover everything. They want to be able to go into a meeting with any institution and say, what do you need? We got that. You need a stable coin? We can help you with that. You need custody? We can do that. You want tokenization? We can do that, right? FX, cross-border, repos, like they are dipping their toes into all of this infrastructure. So if their banks and corporations need the technology, they'll have everything that institution wants. And like looking back the last 2 or 3 years, they really didn't have all of these additional steps and pieces that they did before. I would imagine you're going to see more acquisitions here in 2026 as they continue to build that out. And I don't know, man, they operate on a different level than I've seen most crypto companies operate on. And I'm good with my position and where I am. And I'm thankful, I'm hopeful. And you look at enough information, that all of this money is heading on chain. And that even private institutions will need public liquidity. They'll need Ethereum, they'll need XRP, they'll need Solana. I mean, there's nothing that can be done about that, right? You can have these private systems, but you're going to be able to need to interconnect across multiple chains. You have to go to the L1s and L2s. So, yeah. Does XRP have any influence on Russia? No, I don't think so, man. I think Russia did some early integrations, testing the XRP ledger. You got to remember that currently Russia is heavily sanctioned, and a U.S. company cannot participate with them. So they cannot work with like Ripple, right? But they can build on the XRP ledger because the XRP ledger is a decentralized blockchain that anybody can build on. So, are they going to build out infrastructure? I don't know, man. I think they have their hands full with what's going on with Ukraine and now maybe Europe. That is a concern, right? But I don't know what their plans are. Thanks for the response, Sensei. Any chance you could interview Lewis and pick his brain live? Yeah, man, I could absolutely do that. He checked in the chat the other day. I know he stepped back from making content for a while, but I will have my team reach out to Lewis. Thank you for reminding me here. Let me send this to my team right now. And let's see. My team right now is working on getting an interview with Charles Hodgkinson. So hopefully we'll have Charles on the show next month. That's what we are working on right now. So that would be a pretty cool interview, and I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, we're waiting. We're all waiting, man. We're all waiting. I hope he's right. Even if he's wrong, though, I don't think anything's really going to happen. I think some people will be disappointed, but like eventually a prediction will come true, right? And we just got to wait for that. So we'll see, man. XRP replacing the dollar? No, guys. Like, listen, the US. So the US is really concerned about de-dollarization, right? You're starting to see oil trades being done in yuan and different currencies. They're worried about, listen, like Europe really doesn't want to be using the dollar. They want to have their own currency that is used on a global scale, much greater. But for the US to kind of go away with the dollar and use XRP, they would need to control the supply of XRP, right? They're not going to, like how would that even work? I don't see the US government, right? Because then they couldn't print money, right? Then they couldn't kind of manipulate that. And that would just be a different world. But I don't know. I guess I could research that to better understand it, but I just don't see that as something that probably would ever happen. Yeah, man. We'll see, man. Your thoughts on the Fed Master account? Do you think we'll have to wait for the Clarity Act to pass? So to get the Fed Master account, right, Ripple needs to get their bank set up. For Ripple to get their bank set up, that's still going to take some time. We covered this. I went into this in detail. There's like nine steps that Ripple needs to do to get that bank up. So like the preliminary stuff is you got to hire the people. You got to do the background checks, right? Make sure that you're bringing people in that don't have any kind of criminal past or history, right? That's like the basic stuff. They gotta fund the bank, right? They have to get the infrastructure set up as far as the systems that are going to be used, the cybersecurity to make sure that that customers will be protected and whatever else that they need to do. Then the OCC will come in and do like a final check or approval once the bank is set up. Usually it takes about 12 to 18 months to do that whole process. Now, since Ripple already has connections with the NYDFS, the New York Department of Financial Services, because that's who they waited for to get the approval to launch RLUSD, they already have some of these connections that usually take some time to get. That will allow them to maybe move faster. I would imagine you'll see Ripple Bank, National Bank Trust launch sometime in 2026 towards quarter 3, quarter 4. Personally, that's what I think. Spicy. Let's see here. Dalen, with Trump seizing oil tankers from Venezuela, could that spike oil? Okay, no. Venezuela produces 1% of global supply of oil. 1%. So even if you took Venezuela off the board completely, that 1% really won't do a global shock. Oil prices have been coming down. One of my dad's friends sent me a photo of how cheap gas is in Nevada. And I think this is all part and due to how much the US has been doing over the last 3 to 4 years. Remember, like the US turned into like the world's biggest supplier of oil in like history, right? And that happened during the Biden administration and it's continuing under the Trump administration. So you could have some things pop off, like if something happened with China and Taiwan, and that turned into a big escalation. If something happened in the Middle East, like you would need a big event to really get into some of Jake's predictions here. Venezuela isn't one of them. I can show you the numbers, like if you really want to, but it's pretty easy to understand. Like, you know what? Let's just spend some time. You know, let's spend a little time here. What countries produce the most oil? List them from biggest to smallest. Also, what event could cause the price of oil to skyrocket? What events globally? All right, let's see here. There we go. Oil. Look at that. United States. Boom. Number one. Saudi Arabia. Damn, the United States is producing double what the second largest partner is doing. Isn't that pretty insane? Holy smoking rockets. All right, so 20 million barrels per day. Saudi Arabia, 10 million. Russia, 10 million. Canada, 5 million. Iran, 5 million. Iraq, 4 million. China, 4.3. United Arab Emirates, Brazil at 3.5. Kuwait at 2.7. How much does Venezuela, I spelled that wrong, Venezuela produce per day? Why is that the new thing that the whole, you know, thing with Venezuela are going to cause oil spikes? Is I hope that's not what's being said. Like, that would make me a little bit more frustrated with some of the stuff that comes out of that channel. All right, so as of late 2025, they roughly produce 930 to 9. So the US produces 20 times more oil per day than Venezuela does. Context: Venezuela holds the largest proven oil reserves, but years of underinvestment, mismanagement, US sanctions have kept it far below its potential. 2 to 3 million. It used to produce 2 to 3 million barrels per day, but only does 1 million. So if you take a look here, hold on, add up the biggest oil producers against, fuck. There you go. Exactly what I told you. This is roughly about 1% of global supply. I know my stuff, man. I spend all my day understanding all of this. I got you. So no, Venezuela is not going to do anything. Hopefully that's not what's being said. But you guys know that you can, anything anybody says, you can take it a step further for yourself, right? You can take what they're saying and you can fact check it. I hope that some of the things that I show you, you know, you even fact check me, right? Like, the whole point of this channel specifically is to give you the facts as we know them, right? We can speculate and we can say all of these great things, but I really want to deal in the realm of facts and not fantasy. And I know that some channels more are focused on fantasy, and some people want to hear that. And I get that. I understand that. And it's a good place to learn a little bit about everything, I guess. Man, you guys see that Bears game? Is Tom here? Is Tom here? That Bears game last weekend? Oh my God. So MMT says, at best, Venezuela could provide additional protection to U.S. oil interest in the event that something larger kicks off, but it would not impact Japan RCT. Yeah, so MMT, you understand all of this, you know, global macro stuff. What do you think would need to happen for oil prices to really, you know, skyrocket? You know, like what event would need to kick off? And why you're while you're kind of maybe typing that, I did pull up what are the biggest events that could happen here. So here is the biggest one: war or major escalation in the Middle East, a large-scale conflict involving Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the Straits of Hormuz. Yeah, so if the Straits of Hormuz got closed down, that would be something that would impact the global supply, because this is 20% of global oil flows. So if somebody closed the Strait of Hormuz, this would be a big deal. All right. Of course, the escalation, Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine has been systematically taking out. I mean, if you've been following what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, Ukraine has been targeting pretty much all of Russia's infrastructure, not just the plants itself that produce the oil and all of these different things, the pumping stations, the ships, the ghost tankers. There's about 1,000 ghost tankers, and Ukraine's been targeting those. And so I thought by them targeting all of that, that would make oil maybe go up a bit, but I haven't seen that happen yet. So that's a big one. Conflict in the China Sea with Taiwan, something I said to you already. Sudden supply disruptions, major sabotage, or a cyber attack on key infrastructure. That could be something big. Collapse of production and major exporter. Political collapse, civil war, something like that. Natural disasters, OPEC or major producer shocks, global demand shocks, simultaneously strong demand for multiple regions. If China, India, and emerging markets all experience rapid economic growth at the same time, that could do it. An extreme winter in the northern hemisphere, a prolonged heat wave could spike demand. Financial market structure events, loss of confidence in the dollar or major currencies. We might be seeing some of that. And yeah, so that's pretty much, yeah, Middle East, Iran, Taiwan. Yeah, we covered all that stuff. Yeah, we just covered that, Nee. I appreciate you sharing that. This is why they're attempting to team up with BRICS. Yeah, so like from what I understand is Venezuela has been like buying arms from China and a few other places. So I think they are kind of working together on that, and I don't think the US is really excited about that. And I still cannot tell you why we might be going to war with Venezuela. I don't think I've really heard a good explanation, but I mean, it could be a handful of different things, and this could be one of those things, right? I'm sure it could be a little bit of everything, but it's tough, man. Like, I don't know if, like, you got to understand, we just went through 20 years of this in the Middle East. And I can't imagine what those soldiers and those families went through, and just incredible to serve, but also a lot of sad stories with some of how that stuff turned out. Now, to kind of maybe make similar mistakes and go into Venezuela, you got to understand, like, the Venezuela government is now set up, and food and gas and like all of this infrastructure that is set up. If we go in and disrupt that infrastructure, now we take over, as we need to feed all of those people, right? Now the US has to either get up a new government, or like that could be a major famine crisis. And to get food into Venezuela, it might be easier than said done. I know there's a big mountain range there that would slow the supply of goods and services. And I don't know, there's some issues there if you're looking on like a tactical approach to Venezuela. I don't know if it's the best solution, like what we need right now, but I'm not in charge. Yeah, we're early today. My mom's coming in. My mom is going to land at 3:00 here in Hawaii, and so I wanted to be at the airport to pick her up. So that's why we're early today. Tom, did you see the Bears game? Oh my God. Down by 10, 4 minutes to go, come back to win it in overtime. That was insane. Oh man. I was cheering for you, Tom. I was cheering for you. I wanted to show you guys something very special here. There was an announcement today that I don't know if you saw. There's two things I have to show you. Hold on. There's this one. This is one of them I have to show you. Check this out. Listen, you got to listen to this very carefully, and listen. The last 8 or 10 seconds are the most important part of this clip. Okay. So just whatever you're doing right now, if you can just stop and listen, I highly recommend it. All right, here we go.
So 2 years ago, actually last week.
Well, let me give you some context. This is Nadine Shakar. She works at the DTCC. She was working at Securacy. The DTCC acquired Securacy. When they did that, Nadine Shakar went over to the DTCC, and she's in charge of the digital asset development at DTCC. Now, the DTCC announced a big announcement with Canton Network to tokenize treasuries, but also there's something really important she says here.
So 2 years ago, actually last week was our 2-year anniversary when we joined DTCC, and we had been working on how do we extend what DTCC does into the DeFi world. That is really the vision that we have, is how do you bridge between TradFi and DeFi. And listen, there's a lot of people with very strong opinions of what that depositories won't be needed in the future, that we don't want anything that's centralized, all that good stuff. And what we actually tried to do was show them that there's actually value to have organizations like DTCC really help with that process. Now, what happens in 5 or 10 years, I don't know. My guess is it will continue to evolve, and we'll do what we do a bit differently. But you needed somebody right now to be able to do tokenization in a way that continued to protect investor protections. I'm sorry, that's probably 2 protections in one sentence, not a good thing. Really extend it with all the legal rights and obligations that go with it. And what a depository does, which is really important, Simon, is we are also the good control location. When you have an issuer like Apple, let's assume they issue 1,000 shares. How do you make sure after the 1,000 shares get tokenized and those get tokenized and those get tokenized that there's still fundamentally 1,000 shares? And that's really what the depository does, among other things that we do. So extending that into the digital world, I think it's also important to acknowledge that our hypotheses, and I think you'll agree with that, is while we believe that someday everything will tokenize, it is going to take us a while to get there. What we've tried to do at DTCC is really we're trying to take 55 years of evolving the U.S. capital markets, or the largest capital markets in the world, and we're really trying to digitize that in a matter of like 50 weeks.
You know what's really confusing though? Like, she says something like it's going to take us a long time to do this, and then she says we're going to do this in 50 weeks. Right? Did you catch that? Am I tripping? Hold on, let me just back this up a little bit here.
The 1,000 shares get tokenized and those get tokenized and those get tokenized, that there's still fundamentally 1,000 shares. And that's really what the depository does, among other things that we do. So extending that into the digital world, I think it's also important to acknowledge that our hypotheses, and I think you'll agree with that, is while we believe that someday everything will tokenize, it is going to take us a while to get there.
It is going to take us a while to get there. And in like the 2 sentences later, she says something completely against that.
What we've tried to do at DTCC is really we're trying to take 55 years of evolving the U.S. capital markets, or the largest capital markets in the world, and we're really trying to digitize that in a matter of like 50 weeks.
I don't know, man. It sounds like they're trying to bring everything on chain in 2026. That's what it sounded like. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Dude, 49ers played some good ball yesterday, man. I was real happy with that finish. We got a nice donation here from Alex Cox 1477 for $2.99. Thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the channel. And I think this is what he meant to say, is apparently next year Ripple is going public. Could very well happen. Ripple is interested in going public in a good market, but they don't have to go public. Usually companies go public because they need to raise money. Ripple doesn't need to raise money. So if you listen to every Brad Garlinghouse interview where he's asked about this, he prefers to stay private. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that forever, but you never know. That could definitely happen. Hey, Nicole, great to see you. How you doing? Happy holidays. Hold on, let me just go down to the bottom here. Did I see the interview with Jessie where she said Ripple is positioning XRP to be a stable coin? I think they're positioning XRP to be a stable value, right? Stable value. Because it cannot be a stable coin, right? We understand that a stable coin is backed up by a dollar or a euro, right? It has a specific function. XRP cannot be backed by gold. It cannot be a stable coin, but they can get it to a stable value. We got Duchess here. Great to see you, Duchess Sensei. That was an awesome game. Prince, Crypto Prince and I watched. Yeah, it was pretty good, man. It was good. I was like, you know what? It's done. Man, I was cheering because I know Tom and Ariana and a few other people really like the Bears, and I wanted to see them beat the Pack. Who are they playing? The Packers, right? I think they were playing the Packers. So many football games. It's hard to keep track of who's who, but it was a lot of fun to watch. What's up, Sam? It's going good. How you doing? Lions. Yeah, Lions. They lost to the Steelers though. I don't know. They got to play better. Nobody truly knows what's going to happen, guys. Nobody really knows. Like, we think we know, but we don't know the scale and how quick it's going to happen and what it's actually going to mean for the utility price, right? All people are doing is taking in information that is given to us and we are speculating on it, right? You cannot rely on just one person, one video, one thing to change everything that you know, right? Everything that you've learned so far can't do it. Is it possible starts bear market? I think you're asking if a bear market's coming. So traditionally, after, usually November is the top for some coins, and then sometimes January is the top. Usually that's true. But with the Fed printing all of this money and rates getting lowered, I think we're going to go into 26. And if we do have some type of bear, that could be like 27, late 26. I don't really have a crystal ball, but I do know that there is a lot of money that's about to be printed, and that liquidity is going to be injected into the system. So nobody knows, but I have seen a lot of people like Raoul Paul say the cycle is going to continue into 26. How much XRP do you think will be enough to not have to ever worry about working again? I mean, this is a question that gets brought up almost every stream. And the simple answer is, how much money do you spend? Where do you live? What does it cost you to eat, to own, to rent, right? To like, what kind of cars? Like, are you this elaborate spender, or are you more of a, ramen noodle type person? I don't know. I can tell you that I think having 5,000, 10,000 XRP, 10,000 XRP is probably that mark that I think a lot of people are trying to get to if they haven't already. But I don't know, man. You gotta ask yourself how much you spend. What do you want prior to price appreciation, right? After price appreciation, and see where you land. Lewis has a contrarian view. It's good for the community. It gets us to check assumptions. Absolutely, man. I think it's good that he's putting out the content. I really need to go watch that video now, since you guys are really talking about it. Let me see YouTube. Oh God, I gotta sign in. Hold on. Let me just sign in here. Oh, two-factor. All right, Lewis Jackson. All right, so this one, banks won't hold XRP. This is the one you want me to watch? All right, I'll watch that one. Jason, Merry Christmas, man. I hope you and your family have a good one. Do I have other coins besides XRP? I have a few. He's born with the luck of the Irish. I like that. I was born with the luck of the Irish too. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Yeah, Jake knows 99.99%. You know, and I'll go back to the same thing I say about all of this. If you really know, if you are really that connected, you wouldn't have to make 100 price predictions. You would just need one price prediction, right? Because you know, or you don't know. You do know, you don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Right? Like if you are that, because you tell everybody how connected you are and how you know all this stuff, but it like, why? I don't know. Jazzabar, Merry Christmas to everyone. Wishing health and happiness and good vibes. May your holidays be merry, your wallets be lightning fast, and may XRP keep moving gifts around the world a little faster. I love that. Thank you. Happy holidays. Great to see you. 100,000 XRP is a pretty solid bag. That's a big, big solid bag. That's pretty gangster. No, I don't think he's crazy. Like I think XRP can hit 10,000. Like I believe that, you know, I just don't know how long it'll take. Right. You know, you can go back to my content that I made 2-3 years ago that I truly believe that XRP could reach a price like that. Will it happen, you know, in 26 or 27? Man, I would love it. That would be great. We'll see, right? I think that's a good timeline. I think there's a lot of really smart people that think XRP will be at least $1,000 by 2030. And you know, if it can be $1,000, it can be 2,000. And if it can be 2,000, it can be 5,000. And if it can be 5,000, it can be 10,000, right? It's really going to depend on how much supply is available on exchanges. There's no supply, then the price will be through the roof. Flare Networks. I seen a Flare Sensei on Flare Networks. That you, broski? Flare Sensei. I don't know. We've been working with Flare on some stuff. I had one of their people on the show a few weeks ago. We're trying to get the boss man Hugo on. You know, it's a little more tough to get him on. But I think my team will get him on sooner or later here. It'd be great to hear from him directly. Yeah, man, I think I need to watch it. So I'll take some time. You know, my mom's going to be here. And, you know, I'm really going to focus on her today, getting her settled in and doing some things. But I'll find time over the next few days to sit down and listen to that. I want to be able to make sure I'm not doing 100 things when I listen to that. Maybe take some notes so I can better understand it. Yeah, you got to take Jake with a grain of salt. Like, you know, like his whole stick is he needs price to go up. And he will say and do anything for price to go up, right? Like his whole business is intertwined with XRP. If XRP does good, his business does good. If XRP drops, his business doesn't do good. So, you know, there is a need for him to go out and to say these things because he wants people to come in and buy. But he also believes in XRP, right? So like, you know, you have to take that with, you know, he's multiple things going on, right? And I like most of what he does and most of what he says, but there's some things that I'm like, you know, just like anybody, right? I'm sure there's things that I say that you're like, you know, so all good, man. Where the hell is our carry trade dump? I don't know. This is the wrong channel to ask about the carry trade. This is the wrong channel, man. Jake won't come on my show. Jake won't come on my show. I don't know if it's he doesn't want to have somebody that maybe knows as much about XRP as he does to maybe contradict some of what he's saying. I don't know what it is. But I don't know if he's scared to come on, if it's another reason. I don't know. But you have to ask Jack, you have to ask Jake about that, dude. I'll talk to Lewis about coming on. What is a stoned YouTuber waffles? I don't know what that means. And that's good. That's good. You know, that's good. Yeah, Versan messaged me. He wanted to work together. And then like he sends me messages like, dude, let's work together. And then I'm like, okay. And I follow up and then I don't hear from him. So maybe I'll recheck in with him. He like he was gonna invite me to be on one of the shows. And like the day that I was supposed to come on, I was like, hey, is there a link? Oh, we decided to go a different way. I was like, okay, I don't understand that, but I'll try to reach out to him. Man, everybody's asking about the Lewis Jackson thing. I might just like sit here and watch it. I'll get striked if I put it on his thing though. Yeah, I won't do that. Yeah, I don't know. You guys are gonna have to ask Jake about why he won't come on. I'd find it really interesting though, if he did. And I think the community would find it really interesting if he did. I think that would be a must watch in the XRP community. Yeah. That would be good. Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of really good information, right? And I appreciate that. Yeah, squash the beef. I don't know, man. It's up to Jake to squash the beef. He needs to do it. He's still comfortable with his which projection? The 751 or the 101? Which projection is he comfortable with? Damn, bang bang. I can't put that comment up. That's a spicy comment. You guys are wild. What if you're I've seen that, the world's highest IQ person. I looked that up. I guess like they say he's the highest IQ, but is he really the highest IQ? I don't know if he's like tested. I did see that, but I didn't put it in my videos. I did look that person up. I saw somebody ask Jake about me. He said like, you know, we run a billion dollar fund. I don't have time to, what's it called? I think that's pretty funny. Oh my goodness, you guys are funny. $100? Bold. That is bold. Like, what could happen in the next 8 days to send XRP to $100? I mean, you look at ETF demand is slowing down because of Christmas, right? I think it was like in the teens, millions today. It wasn't like 50 or 60 million. I don't know, man. I don't see anything in the next 8 days to send XRP to $100. I don't know what to say about that. Night Fury, great to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I think the guys, I think it's made up, dude. Like, I don't know. I did try to look that up, like the highest IQ person, and it said that like this, it didn't say it's not real. It said like they haven't officially tested this person's IQ where like they take the tests, all the things in front of like somebody watching. I think, yeah. All right. Fair enough. I hope you have a very good Christmas too, man. Listen, I think that the rest of the market's been dumping and XRP is being quietly accumulated by institutions. And at some point, you're going to hit a wall, right? And whether that wall is this week, next month, 6 months from now, I don't know, right? Nobody knows how much XRP is on OTC desks. And I would imagine some, OTC desks might be trying to buy some XRP from exchanges at these lower prices, but I don't know, exchanges are running thin on XRP. You've seen balances on Binance and Coinbase disappearing. At some point, you're going to hit a wall. When you hit a wall, we'll know it. See here, Jasbo. Seems like Jay Claver has got a crystal ball and is out here predicting XRP's moon landing, but still playing hard to get with Sensei's invite. Maybe the stars just want to align. Yeah, but like we go back to, you know, if you really know, you don't have to make 100 predictions. You just need one prediction, right? Like if I know something that most people didn't know, right? Like if I had inside connections and I knew a date, I would just say in this month, it would be X, or on this week, or even on the day. You wouldn't need to make a prediction, 2 predictions in December, a prediction in January, you know, a prediction in October. Like you wouldn't need 10 predictions or 50 predictions. You would just need one prediction, right? So I think you know about like most of what other people know from the research that people can do. But as far as him knowing the day that things are going to happen, I don't think he does. Prediction by Muppets. Fair enough. Oil price catalyst. The catalyst for $100 to $750 as the carry trade will accelerate and force them to use XRP. Sure hope he's right. That would be real bad if he's wrong. Do I think Elon's X money could use XRP? I think Elon's X money will have the ability to use XRP. I don't know if like that'll be the main focus, but I would imagine that like Stellar, XRP, Solana, Ethereum, it would be just smart to have all of that interconnected, right? Yeah, you know, let's just calm down about the Jake stuff, man. It gets a little exhausting. Yep, all good, man. You know, I think you guys are smart enough to know that the crypto market is filled with people that make promises, and very rarely those promises are made true. Like very rarely, and they make the promises because it gets them views, it gets them clicks, and people come to want to listen to those people because those people are telling people what they want to hear, right? And I get it. Like people want to be told what they want to hear, right? Because it kind of starts your whole you know, like the way that you think, like, hey, maybe I've been right this whole time, right? This very smart person, right, who's connected to everybody is telling me things that I think are going to happen too. And we get attached to those things and we get attached to those people. And I get it. Just understand that not all these things are going to happen the way that people think they will, right? That's the crazy thing about the world that we live in. We can all predict that something will happen, but like you're talking about global events that you have absolutely no control over, right? All we are is along for the ride at this point. And as long as we understand that, you know. Merry Christmas, Wealth. Great to see you, man. I hope you and your family do well. Luna's doing good. She's sleeping. We've been trying to pick up the house a little bit, but she's crashed out right here below me, taking a good old nap. So she's tired. She's really tired. Thanks for asking. Oh, Luna, you got some Merry Christmases. That's so nice. Do stable coins under Genius Act help with U.S. debt or increase buying pressure? Ooh, that's a good question. So because of countries starting to accelerate with the sale of treasury bonds, you do need a buyer on the other end. And I think that's where the US government has realized that stablecoin issuers are probably that only buyer at this point. So will it help US debt and increase buying pressure? I'd imagine if enough stablecoin companies start to grow quickly enough, it could help, but hard to say how that's going to turn out, MMT. But I feel like a conversation between me and you about that topic needs to happen, my friend. There's another thing that I don't know if you guys saw today. I want to show you this. Did you guys see this? I covered this in a video I did that's probably coming out later, but check this out. So this is from Lloyd's Bank, right here. And in this article, it says that the ICC has a target of digitizing 60 to 80% of all trade by 2026. That is pretty bullish. Now, if you dig into this a little deeper, you'll see that the ICC is the International Chamber of Commerce. And the International Chamber of Commerce represents 45 million companies in 170 countries, right? The reason this is important is about seizing the moment. Roadmap to digitize trade. The ICC UK states a goal to enable 60 to 80% of world trade to be digitized by the end of next year, aligning with laws and standards and rules so digital documents are fully interoperable with and legally valid. I thought this was interesting, right? Studies commissioned by the ICC show that fully digital trade ecosystems across the G7 could increase trade by 40 to 43%. That is a huge, huge number. And I thought this was also interesting because how XRP could fit into this is Ripple and XRP sit in the payments and settlement layer of this new digital trade track, rather than the legal document standardization. The ICC, FIT Alliance, and Lloyds Bank are focused on digitizing trade documents and data, bills of lading, LCs, and invoices so that trade flows become machine readable and legally recognized for electronic form. Ripple and XRP focus on moving the value across borders in real time using XRP as a bridge asset for on-demand liquidity so that once a digital trade is agreed upon and documented, the underlying payment can also be instant and low cost. I thought that was pretty juicy. What do you think of the narrative Ripple is settling into good news to wait? What do you think of the narrative Ripple is set long into the good news to regulate price? 100x, can you maybe fix that question? I'd like to answer that, but I'm not quite sure what you're asking me. I don't want to speculate on your question. So maybe just change that a bit and resend it, and I'll answer that. Thank you for the donation. Tax form 1099-DA. I don't know anything about taxes. I have a tax person. I would recommend getting tax advice from a tax professional. That is not something that I am. I can help you out with. I'm sorry. Hey, Robbie, Merry Christmas. Great to see you. Get some sleep. Have a good holiday season, okay? Thank you for being here, Robbie. Let's see here. Dadley Bradley says, Sensei, with leverage products down so much, BNMR versus ETH, FWDI versus SOL, what do you think DATs could be better than buying the native coins? I don't know. I'm not too in the woods with DAT companies and strategies. I do know that there could be an oversaturation of certain DAT companies, and we'll have to see if the model really works out, right? I think you need new buyers constantly coming in to buy the stock to add more. And if you don't have those new buyers, and if your stock is trading, not at a premium to the actual asset, I think that could be some trouble. So just maybe I need to drum up some more information so I can speak to that more intelligently. Benny, thank you for your content. Merry Christmas, boss. Filling my XRP bag with more below 175 for that time. I am filling my Ondo bag. Benny, I think you have a great strategy there, man. I'm wishing you well, brother. Let's see here. HM, I'm not going to say his name. It was discussed that XRP has to be a certain amount of money to flow through. Then thinking about price appreciation has to happen. Price appreciation has to happen trigger, right? You mean for like things to start really flowing the way they are, price appreciation would need to happen? It sounds like, if ETFs could bring XRP's price up to a certain level, that could help. But yeah, price appreciation could happen once value starts to flow. Meant to say Ripple selling into good news. So Ripple is okay. So are we talking about escrowed XRP? If we're talking about escrowed XRP, we can have a conversation about this. So I haven't seen anything about Ripple itself selling XRP into the market, like their on-demand liquidity XRP. Ripple unlocks 1 billion XRP each month in 2 wallets that hold 500 million XRP. And if you go back and you look at 24 and 25, 24, they relocked about 80%. 25, they're relocking about 70%. Some months they obviously issued out more. But last month they relocked 700 million XRP. I would imagine going into 26, they'll do like 600 million will be relocked up, but that could change, right? I do think Ripple is very conscious about how the community is looking at what they do with the escrowed XRP. And I think they want to be good stewards. So I don't know if they're going to start offloading all 1 billion units each month. I think they're going to be a little bit more secure. But also the Clarity Act could require them to get rid of some of that XRP. It really depends on the verbiage and the language in the Clarity Act. There was something in the House bill that said that a certain company or the founders of that company, or employees of the company couldn't own over 20% of a blockchain and have it be decentralized. If that were to pass and that were to be law, that could be a problem for Ripple. They'd have to disclose that. LAX, Merry Christmas. Good to see you, brother. How did this person get mod access? Did they change their name? Who is that? Hold on. Wow, a lot of things happening here. Oh, is that LAX? I was like, who is that? Okay, I was a little worried there. I was like, oh no. Okay, thank you. Panic. Seahawks lose, 49ers win, first place in the division, home field through the playoffs. That'd be interesting. Who's Seahawks playing? Anyway, is it a good team? Let me see here. Oh, we have to go to week 17. They're playing the Panthers. I don't know if they lose that game. Where do you personally feel that the greed level is with XRP? I have no idea. Like, how do you even look that up? I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that hold XRP and won't sell it for $2 or $5 or $10. Channel hack. You guys are too funny, man. The Patriots been playing good ball. The Patriots playing really good ball. How about Ripple? How about this? Ripple gives billions of XRP escrow to the US. When it reaches 10,000, they could pay off national debt. I mean, that's something that I floated like last year. Like, the whole thing is, you're doing this Bitcoin Act. Why? I mean, you're trying to make some billionaires even more rich. Use the US for exit liquidity on Bitcoin. The US should be investing into US companies and infrastructure. They should be investing into Ripple and Stellar and Chainlink and Cardano and Solana. Like, it's just so stupid. It really is stupid. And it's pushed by greed. It's Bitcoin, billionaires paying lobbyists to lobby government officials to push this Bitcoin Act. That's not going to help out really anybody but a few billionaires. It's stupid. It's really stupid. And it just goes to show you that people at the government level don't really understand the market and where it's going, and that nothing is being built out on Bitcoin right now. It's a freaking ghost town. When's the last time someone said, I'm building out this new futuristic, platform on the Bitcoin ecosystem? I got a button for this. Hold on. Crickets. Just doesn't make sense. Chad, what's up, Chad? Aloha, brother. Melikalika Maka from the Big Island. Mahalo Nui for all the love you drive, you share with us. Great to see you, man. Thank you. Happy holidays, my friend. You and your family. Yeah, I don't know, man. Bitcoin uses Palm. Husky Tom, Merry Christmas, Luna to Luna. Can you give us a recap of the wormhole info you got? Yeah, let's pull it up, Tom, so we can learn on that together here. I think you're talking about the NTT standard, right? I think that's what you're talking about, Tom. Hold on. Let me there's better things about this. Hold on. No, hold on. So you want NTT. I mean, that's a post on it, but it's not the post I want. Here you go. Okay. The future of crypto is undeniably multi-chain. And to truly serve both institutional finance and growing on-chain economy, stablecoins must exist wherever the demand and the utility are. As chains continue to build for real-world use cases, they need a highly regulated stablecoin is even stronger. Today, Ripple is taking an important step toward that future with a launch of RLUSD in its first layer 2 networks ahead of its official debut next year. Testing will begin on Optimism, Base, and Ink and Unichain in partnership with Wormhole. So, Tom, what we're dealing with here is you need to go where the liquidity and the demand are. And some chains do certain things better, right? Whether it's perpetuals or exchange, like there's certain chains that do things better. And if you can bring XRP and RLUSD to those chains, you're pretty much locking up XRP and you're creating a wrapped version or a different version of XRP on these exchanges, right? And it's real XRP. And what you're going to do is you're going to lock up even more XRP as XRP is used for liquidity or whatever it is on all of these different chains. It'll also help RLUSD growth, and how you see like USDC and USDT on multiple chains. That is what you're going to see probably with RLUSD, since it is highly, highly regulated. A lot of institutions are only going to want to work with highly regulated stablecoins, and RLUSD is one of the highest regulated. So it's just going like multi-chain. It's going to, I mean, they're going to where they think the liquidity is going to be, and it's a smart move. Thank you, Tom. I'll post this, Tom, if you want to. I covered this in several videos last week. When did this come out? This came out on December 15th. If you go back and look at December 15th's content, like I'll go into this in extreme detail. Everything. I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe he's from the future. Maybe he was visited in a dream by somebody from the future. I don't know. I don't know if he's like, maybe he has the third eye or something, but hey, he's very connected and he knows more than everybody else. And let's just let it play out. I don't know, man. I mean, I've already said that I'm 99.99% sure that doesn't happen. So either I'll be right or he'll be right. Either way, I want him to be right at the end of the day, just so we're clear. But I don't think he's right. I don't think he's right. Top notch fans checking in from the Philippines. Great to see you, man. Thank you for being here. Yeah, Tom, I cover this in detail. You want me to see if I can find the content for you? Hold on. December 15th. Let's see here. I don't know. You guys like the branding? My team's working on it. Let's see here. Oh my God, there's just so much content we make. It's so crazy. I don't know. It'd have to be. You have to go back and look at December 15th, Tom. Sorry. Hard for me to stream and find it at the same time. You think Wormhole and Flare will have some kind of combo for Ripple and XRP? I think there's a lot of things being built out, and I don't know for sure, man. But I wouldn't underestimate what the Flare team is working on. I was playing some clips what the Flare team was doing in one of today's videos. And I mean, they're talking about 4%, 6%, to even 10% yield for XRP holders on some of this stuff. I think it's going to be big, man. I'm going to try to bring them in. Yeah, maybe he's a time traveler. I don't know. He could be a time traveler. You love the new banner? All right. That's good. Yeah. Tom, if you can't find it, email me. I know like some of the videos, there's just like so much stuff in the videos, and sometimes the title in the video don't specifically say like NTT standard. It'd be easier if that was the case, but like sometimes I cover like 10 or 20 different pieces of news in one video, and it's hard to like what is the one piece of news people are going to be most interested in looking at, and that's what we kind of address the title and the thumbnail towards. Jake's got 7 days. Yeah, man. You need the background behind you. Yeah, I know. Maybe this could be a thing where I need to get some type of studio in the future. I don't know. We'll see. I didn't expect the channel to from November to November 24 until now. I mean, we have turned into the most watched XRP channel in the world. I didn't realize that was going to happen. The team has put in a lot of time and energy into making something like that happen. And that was always the goal and the dream to do that. But now that we're here, what's next? What else can we accomplish? And I think that's what we're working on next. The Panthers are going to beat the Seahawks. Okay. All right, Paul. That's pretty sassy. What's my favorite 49ers song? I don't know if I don't have a song for them, man. Happens when you put out great content. I appreciate that, Phil. Thank you, man. Santa coming sooner. I'm just thankful to be here, guys. Like at the end of the day, it's just an honor to spend this time with you guys. That's it. Like it is an honor. I like the Paul Barron look. Yeah, that's we're coming for Paul Barron. When Paul had me on his show, I wish we would have just talked about XRP. We talked about like a bunch of other things. Dude, do you know who Johnny and Abs are from Good Morning Crypto? I know who they are. Why did you say I didn't know who they are? I know who they are. I don't know, Sylvie. I mean, I don't know them personally. I see their channel, but I don't know who they are. Is that fair? Like, you don't know somebody personally. I don't know them personally. I do know that they have a channel. I think we're getting caught up on just one thing. And I think that's a little, I mean, am I going to XRP Las Vegas? That's an interesting question. So I was actually trying to be a speaker at XRP Las Vegas. And I reached out to the person that runs XRP Las Vegas. And I asked them if I could be a speaker. Took a while to get a response. And they said, okay, we'll think about it. Some time went by. I followed up. Didn't hear anything. Somebody asked me why XRP Las Vegas is so expensive. And I put out a tweet showing like how much it would cost me to travel to Las Vegas, to buy a ticket for my wife, airfare, hotel, and the event. And it was like $7,000 or $8,000. And I said, like, do I go to XRP Las Vegas or do I buy 4,000 XRP? And I guess that tweet got me banned from XRP Las Vegas. Got me banned. So I don't know. I don't know if I am going to be able to go. Yeah. Yeah, it's $2,200 per ticket, right? Because it's you got, like, if you want to go to this, like the after party, I guess it's $500, but you can get a deal buying the ticket and the after party together. It's $2,200, so it's $4,400. It'll probably cost, you know, $1,000 to fly there and back because I'm in Hawaii. So my wife and I, it's $2,000. The hotel for 2 days or 3 days, that'll be $1,000, depending, like if I stay at a nice room or just whatever, right? So you're at like $7,000-8,000 to go. And if I went, I wanted to make an impact. Like I wanted to be there and share my thoughts and my opinions and be there for the community. And it does feel like maybe the old guard are blocking newer people from being able to show up. And I don't know what that's about, but because of the tweet, I'm currently not allowed and banned from being a speaker there. Like I can go to the event, but I don't know if I want to go to an event that bans me for speaking my mind. That's kind of crazy. I mean, like I sent an email to the person who it's Brad Kimes from Digital Perspectives. That's who the person is. And he blocked me on X because of the tweet. And he wrote me this kind of nasty message. And in the message, he says, because I'm being emotional, that now I ruined the opportunity to be a speaker. Now, he hadn't offered me to be a speaker, but after I put out the tweet of saying how much it was, he kind of dangled that in my face and said, whatever. Now, regardless of the tweet or not, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you allowing a tweet from anybody to dictate what the community wants, right? I'd imagine if we put out a poll, if people want me there, yes or no, I'd imagine that a majority of the people will say yes. There's going to be people that say no, and that's fine. I'm never going to make everybody happy, and I'm okay with that. But like if you can block me from your channel, that's fine. But blocking me from a public event like the XRP Las Vegas, supposed to be the biggest and best event, don't you want the biggest and best people in the XRP space? So that frustrated me a bit. You know, I'll be real honest with you. And I sent him an email saying, you know, if this is what if this is your decision, then I think I need to put this out for the community. And so I gave him a few weeks to respond. You know, he said that there's some things happening in personal life, and that's why he never got back to me on being a speaker. And, you know, we'll see. I don't think it was right what he did. And I don't know if he's going to rectify that. What frustrated me and what hurt me personally is the first video that I watched for XRP was Brad Kimes. And I learned a lot from him. And over the last 5 years, I've said a lot of really nice things about Brad. I've never said anything negative about Brad, ever. Not one thing. And I've said hundreds of nice things about him. And for him to be the gatekeeper like that because of a tweet, and the tweet wasn't even negative. The tweet was not even negative. It was just pointing out how expensive it was. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that. I'll see you later, Two Big Paws. I'll see you later. Vegas is dead. Vegas is pretty dead. You're right. Two Big Paws, you know, you don't really have anything nice to say, man. So good luck. Merry Christmas. Best of luck to you. I don't need to keep looking in the chat and having some snarky remarks. I just don't need to deal with it, man. Speaking your mind gets you in trouble. It does. It does. And, you know, I'll deal with that. That's fine. But I was a little frustrated by that. And, you know, it feels good to kind of get that out, because I was dealing with that probably not in the right ways. You know, I was really getting down on myself. Like I did something wrong. And, I don't think I did anything wrong. You know, I think it's important to point out how much things cost, right? And like, you know, yes, this is the biggest event of the year, but like some people don't have that money, right? And if those specific people that don't quite have it go out of their way to like pay for all of it and go there, and they don't get the value that they were expecting, that's tough, man. I don't know. I don't regret what I said. It's out there. And now people know. Now people know. So they have their favorites. They're all in it together. They do. They do. And that's fine, man. Like, I get it. I am heavily opinionated, and most people don't like that. And I get it. And I'm not a kiss the ring type of person. I never have been. You know, I'm not gonna kiss somebody's ass for an opportunity. Like, if you want to work with me, I will give you everything that I have. Right? Every day, I will give you everything that I have. But like, you know, anyways, I mean, I haven't put the video together yet. I don't know if I will. I don't know if it's worth it, but that's the story about XRP Las Vegas. And like, it sucks because like I really wanted to go there and be a part of that and meet the community members and you know, just have some fun with you guys, you know? And like, when I'm going to go there and like, you know, I'm going to have people like whispering and, you know, throwing shade and these types of things. I just don't have time for like this stuff, right? Like, I don't know, man. It's frustrating. I appreciate you guys. They got more subscribers than I do. I just, you know, I think it's always about people's time, right? And the information that you can provide and providing people value. And that's all it is for me. Every day I get up and I'm like, how can I provide value to people? Like, is this content worth putting out, right? And sometimes I'll make a video and I'm like, that wasn't good enough. I'm going to delete this. I'm not even going to upload this, right? And like every day I just want to get up and I want to explore this incredible innovation. I want to learn about it and I want to share that journey with you guys. and could have given up for years. Stay strong. And I appreciate having you guys all have my back. I really appreciate that. Since I don't sweat the shiznits, you got your own army that's growing. We love you, buddy. And that's why we're here. Use it as fuel to grow. Tom, I'm thankful to have somebody like you in my life and to help support the channel, man. You have been just an incredible force, an incredible friend to the channel. And I really appreciate you, Tom. Like I genuinely wish you, Luna, and your family the best. And I'm looking forward to meeting you someday, Tom. I really am. Let's see here. Mike says, everything happens for a reason. You have your platform here to speak your mind as much as you want. People can choose to listen or not, regardless of their own opinions. I appreciate that, Mike. And I think that's what this is all about, guys. You know, like I'm not going to be right about everything. You know, I know that. And, you know, I'm going to make mistakes. You know, I'm going to probably say something I shouldn't have. And I get that, you know, and that's who I've always been. And it's okay, you know. I was very sad about this week though, like to get that message and to just, it was a little defeating. But, you know, I think big things are ahead and we're going to keep moving forward as we always do. What other digital assets? Like, you know, we talk about this a lot. I don't have a huge selection of digital assets, right? I have some like real world asset tokens. I have a little bit of Ondo, a little bit of ADA, a little bit of XLM, a little bit of HBAR, a little bit of Solana. I don't really have a ton of tokens. Like I have not, you know, when I was in 2021, I branched out and I had hundreds of projects. And then I realized I can't keep track of all those projects. And I probably lost a lot of money because I just had too much. And I needed to just focus that on a few things, right? And the problem I have is I want to put money where I think the biggest value and impact will go. And if I can get past XRP and XLM and ADA, you know, what else do I need to put money into, right? Like, I think that's going to be the infrastructure. That's what I want to own more of. And so it gets hard to invest into all of these other assets. And I'll tell you this, I've lost a lot of money in the crypto space buying into new projects. And you know, people saying that they're going to do all of these things and then they wind up not doing it. They wind up not being able to build the community. They wind up not being able to build the technology that they promised. And I've just gotten sick of that, you know, just really tired of all of the promises and under deliverers. And like, I can tell you that there's some things that I invested in like late 2024 that still haven't launched. And, you know, they're still saying it's not a good market to launch in. And that money is just tied up and locked up. And I just don't want to do that anymore. And so if I had to tell you like 10 tokens that I think, like if I came into an extra $1 million tomorrow, where I would focus it most is I'd buy more XRP, XLM, ADA, HBAR. I'd probably buy some Ondo, Chainlink, Ethereum, Solana, maybe some XTC. That's where I'd probably put the rest of that money. It's just, you know, you only have so much money. You only have so much money to invest in the market. And I keep hitting my XRP goal and I keep extending the goal. So I want to keep acquiring it because I think it's going to be worth a whole lot more in the future. So it's hard for me to kind of get past, if I don't buy more XRP, like what am I buying, right? But thank you for the question. I hope it helped you in some way. Just understand that the crypto space is filled with people that make promises and very few of those promises come to fruition. And I have learned that over and over again the hard way. I'm a very trusting person. When I meet somebody and they're telling me what they're building, you know, it's like, oh my God, this is so cool. You know, like how can I be a part of that? And, you know, that excitement of all of those promises the project company makes to you, right? And then time goes by. And a lot of that doesn't come to fruition. And it's just wasted. It's just wasted. And so that's why I'm very careful about newer projects And you don't hear me talking about a whole lot of newer projects right now. And there's a reason for that. Like, we're entering a space where the utility is going to matter most. And that's what you should be focused on. There's a lot of noise in the crypto industry. Don't get sucked into the noise. Don't get sucked in. Let's see here. Calvin, hey Sensei, how you doing? How do you feel about Flare? Okay, so yes, I should have mentioned Flare. I do apologize. See, like, there's so many tokens in my head, I forget Flare. Flare right now, let me see what Flare's market cap is. Give me a second. Let's pull this up together, okay? Let's pull this up together. Okay, Flare. Thank you for saying something about Flare. Okay, Flare is at 1 cent, basically, guys. 1 cent, okay? $1,000 right now will buy you almost 100,000 Flare, right? Flare is going to be one of the most important DeFi layers for XRP holders. Now, there are going to be DeFi layers for other assets, but XRP is one of their main focuses. And this is going to allow you to use your XRP to put it in some type of contract to earn yield. And you're going to be able to get some type of like insurance. Like, this is where a regulated market comes in. Like, some of these institutions are going to want to participate in this stuff, but they're going to want some type of insurance. And having that is going to be a really big ability. And so I've brought in some people in from SparkDex and a few other places that really kind of talk about some of the things that they are doing. It was like StratX and hold on, let me see. Who was it that I brought in? I'm trying to remember the exact names. Give me 1 second. Hold on, I have so many Telegram channels. It was StratX and it was SparkDex. I got that right. Okay, StratX and SparkDex. If you haven't watched the interview with Flare, StratX, and SparkDex, go watch that interview. They kind of tell you what's coming with institutions, like institutional interest in some of this stuff. And I think people are underestimating how big Flare is going to be. And right now, like, you look at the price of Flare and you're like, this hasn't moved in so long. I get it. But they've also had years of selling pressure from the airdrop that they gave out. And that ends like in January. And without that selling pressure, I would imagine Flare has a good year in 2026. Don't underestimate Flare. Yeah, H4 is down. Like, the whole industry is down right now, guys. Like, it's been a pretty brutal year, and it's been tough for a lot of holders. I get it, man. You kind of feel beat up. You kind of want to say, screw this. I'm done with this industry. But 2026 is where the industry starts to get really interesting. And if you've been here a while, you know that when you have a big institutional inflow of development and investment, new things are being built, new products, new interconnections, that is where things are going to get really exciting. When you start to tokenize the world's value and bring it on chain, that is where we're trying to get to. And that all starts next year. So you got to just, it sucks. You're low right now. This is one of the low points that you're going to experience. But I think a high point is coming, right? So take a deep breath and understand that we're about to witness this transformation we've been talking about for a long time. And you want to be a part of that. Not if you sell now and you're not a part of that transformation, you are going to regret that for the rest of your life, right? I cannot tell you which assets are going to be the best performing. All I can tell you is the assets that I think will be the best performing. And I am just a random guy next to a seal and a capybara and another seal and another seal. You see the Christmas seal that we got here? It's a pretty good Christmas seal. I don't know. Sensei, I'm scared. Don't be scared. We're here together. Like, you got family here. We're going to get through this together. And it's going to be a hell of a ride. It's going to be a hell of a ride. And I think people are underestimating how big of a ride it's going to be. And when we get there, it's going to feel really good. All of the time and energy and the frustration and the sometimes having to sometimes, like all of those emotions will come at once. And that's something that I want to experience with all of you in real time. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to that, guys. Calvin, I'm so glad you're learning. That's the most important thing to me. Most important thing, man. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comment. Yeah, guys, Flare, like that's one of those that we really need to get Hugo on. I really want to see him. Is that the seal of approval? Yeah, that's the other seal. That's this seal. You know, my wife buys these for me. And I don't know if you guys know the stories about like of the other seal that I have. But sometimes the smallest things can get you through some of the hardest times in your life. And this is a reminder of the hard times in my life that I've been through. And that I'm thankful and lucky to still be here, you know? And that's why I have the seal. It's a reminder of where I've been and where I want to go and what I want to achieve. SHX, yes, good call. Yes, there's like SHX. I mean, people have been talking about ZBIC. There's a few other ones. Like, I just, you know, it feels like you just want to have an extra $1 million dropped on you, you know? There's good utility, there's good teams, there's good development, you know, just got to be careful. Ariana, Merry Christmas. I'll talk to you in the chat. You're good. Have a good day. Thanks for being here, Ariana. I know she had a time limit and she had to go. Learning along the way. I'm glad you found us. I hope you are learning along the way. It's a good name. It's a great name. Velo, yeah, you know, I was really bullish on Velo. I know that they have a lot of development, but it's like, do I buy Velo or do I buy Flare? Do I buy Velo or do I buy XRP? Do I buy Velo or do I buy XLM? You know, and it's just not as high on the list for me as some of these other assets. And that's my personal opinion, right? That is the research and things that I've done to shape my thought process around it, right? I don't really follow Flare and all the things that they've been developing recently. And I know there's a great community there, a lot of good development. And I hope you kill it with Flare. I mean, with Velo, excuse me. This is a good list. This is a great list. Corey Williams, guys, XCC, XRP, XLM, HBAR, Quant, ADA, Alga, IOTA, SHX, and ZBIC. It's good. It's a good list there. I own a little bit of HBAR. It's nothing to like. It's not like nothing that would shock you. I don't own a ton of it. I mean, if you're talking about there's top 3, and then there is like other top 3. Top 3 to me is what are the 3 ecosystems that are going to be the most adopted globally, in my personal opinion. And those are Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. Those are the 3 that I think will have the greatest impact with this new financial system. DTCC got the green light yesterday. Interesting for XCC. Yeah, I think anything that the DTCC is doing, it could benefit XCC, right? And also, I saw R3 is now partnering with Solana. Did you guys see that? You start to wonder, is Solana going to be added to the Corda settler? I don't know. We'll have to see. I covered that in a video today. If you guys want that information, it'll come out maybe tomorrow. I recorded 4 videos today, so me see here. So Marty Track says, Sensei, could you create videos where you give explanations regarding crypto or XRP in a special? Make difficult subjects easy to understand, could bring the message to the masses. Yeah, I've been working on a video that kind of goes through some of the terminology used in the crypto space. It's really hard, right? Because when your community is so focused on one subject or one topic, when you put out content that doesn't really involve that specific subject, YouTube doesn't really promote it to other people. And so, you know, it would really only be the people that are following the channel would see it, unless that content got a lot of likes. But I'll see what I can do and see if I can make some more easy to understand content. My wife asked me how much XRP we owned, and I said, we. Oh, I like it. That's spicy. I like that. Oh, damn. Oh man, that was funny. All right, guys, listen, my mom's coming in here in about an hour. I need to get to the airport. I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, and thank you for everything this year. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for some of your frustration. Help me be a better content creator. I just really appreciate you. And it is an honor to be on this journey with you. And thank you for everything. I hope you have a great Christmas, a great New Year's. And I'm looking forward to 2026 and all of the things that are going to happen for us. And I can't wait to get there with you guys. All right. So I want to thank MMT. I want to thank Ariana, LAX, everybody in the chat that asked a question, everyone that just showed up to spend some time here. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. All right. From my family to yours, I'll see you. I will probably stream. My mom's going to be here. So let me just see here, like when I can get on here next. It'll probably be next week on Tuesday. I will be back right before the new year. All right. And we'll check in with some of these price predictions for XRP. All right, guys. Aloha.